semi-special episode of Lost Like Mike, episode 52. We've now officially, I've been doing this show for a year. I've just completed a year doing this show, which it means a lot, primarily because it it does show a little bit of discipline. I don't know if I've done. It's not easy to do anything consistently, and not for lack of trying. There's quite a few things that I put on my itinerary and start to do them, and then there's lots of challenges that keep you from doing it. And this show has had that as well. This is the 53rd week that I've done the show. And many times there's been things coming up when I'm supposed to be recording the episode, and but I've persisted, and I would do it the next day, or find some time during that week to put out a show, to publish one of the shows, and so I am pretty proud. I suppose in certain ways I get a little bit retrospective. I know it's only been a year, but what have I learned, or what is and I think the main thing is consistency is important, and I do, even if I don't feel like doing the show, I've made a commitment to do it, because a lot of times the reasons why I don't feel like doing it are consistent with symptomatic of the very problems that I want to be on this show talking about, or that I battle with, and a lot of people battle with, anxiety and depression, things like that. I think if I've learned anything, I think that those things are part of the human condition. It's not just like certain people are sick or other people are not. Certain people can handle it, other people don't. I don't think that that's the case. I think that we all carry the burden of our limitations as human beings, and it's part of our experience. It's part of our journey, and as you can hear, I still have my cough. The big problem with my cough, I've gone to the doctor several times now, 2 different doctors, 2 different opinions, and I've said in every way that when they said, well, if it's this or this, then you need to. If you show these additional symptoms, we'll get you some antibiotics, or we'll get you something. And I went back a second time, said, look, I'm having all of the symptoms that you're talking about. Let's do something. And here I am. And they prescribed this Flonase nasal spray. And so I said, I'm going to read the package, and it says this is for runny nose and for these different things, and I'm saying I don't have that. And then the side effects are, well, if you take this, then you're going to have an increase in cough and sore throat. And I'm saying, well, that's exactly what I'm trying to stop. It just makes no sense. I should have been a doctor so I could know how to interpret all this medical journals, and I don't get it. I feel like it's just silly. Anyway, welcome to the show. After a year of doing the show, and I still forgot to say, I am your host, Mike Gonzalez, and happy to be here, happy to still be around, happy to I was having a bit of an adventure today. I always record on Sundays, but when I got done being out in the sun all morning, I got home and said, I'm gonna closed my eyes for 10 minutes, and which turned into 45. But I feel hella better. I'm pretty stoked that I got a little bit of uncharacteristic rest on a Sunday or any day. Unimportant housekeeping. I did change the title sequence to being about half the length. I'm pretty. I tried it out last week, and I think I'm going to keep that consistent because although I enjoy a nice intro title sequence, I think it was a bit long. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. It's been that kind of year where I feel like I've learned a lot, and the people that I talk to and family and friends have said that my overall demeanor has been better. I seem to be a little bit more, at least aware of my state of being, and so I appreciate this opportunity to be able to vent and to talk about things that are going on in my life, and that's the purpose of this. It's my inexpensive therapy, which I encourage everybody to go find the help that they need, want, and are comfortable with, and finding people to talk to, and especially qualified people, is best. But this is working for me so far, and so this is an appreciated platform to exercise those demons. Thank you for the comments at lostlikeMike@gmail.com. Keep those comments and messages going. It really moves along. It makes it feel symbiotic, and so I appreciate that as well. I do have some updates in the next coming weeks. I just did x-rays on my knee, on both of my knees, but I talked about doing those. I finally got those scheduled and in, and I'm waiting on that. It's weird because I have another procedure coming up in the beginning of August, next couple of weeks, and that's going to be one that they have to put me to sleep for. We could have a whole show about not wanting to be put to sleep. I'll tell you what, I'm just I don't like. It goes back to control issues, I'm sure, but unfortunately, that's the way that they feel it has to be done. So I'm going to do that. But you can advocate for it. You can want to get these tests done, and then it just, once you get the prospect of them being done or having them done, and then you're waiting on the results, then it's a whole different phobia or a whole different. Well, now it's all about, well, what's going to happen when I find out whatever it is. Like, I think that there's, on my one knee, for example, like, I feel like there's, like, I've known for years that there's something going on, something's wrong with my knee underneath my kneecap or patella or whatever. There's something like, I think it's like just some kind of problem. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be, but every time the doctors or nurses would say, maybe it's like some type of early onset, like arthritis or something, maybe like your and I get it, you get, especially if you don't stretch properly, you don't do certain things, whatever's going on. But different people that I know have had knee surgeries or have had torn ACLs or calcium buildup, different things that can go wrong with your knees. And knowing all the different things that you have to do to fix them is a bit daunting, a little scary. But here's the thing. I can still do certain fundamental exercises like bike riding, I can walk, but I do miss jogging with the worst thing being like being exhausted and tired at the end of it. I'd rather that than my knees ballooning up and being unable to be mobile, for weeks post it. So, um, and I don't believe in just a general blanket getting old sucks, and so just deal with it. I don't think that that's the answer either. But now that I've had the X-rays done, the follow-up's going to be probably during this week or the other week, once they get the results over to my primary, and then we could start talking. But there it goes again. My faith in the medical industry is not all there anyway, because we're talking about the same ones that are misdiagnosing my cough like several times, who didn't even know about the negative effects of coffee and caffeine with acid reflux. I don't mean to cast aspersions against my primary doctor, but I'm just saying it's disheartening to know that that I'm dealing with people that can be valuable, even though I'm supposed to put my faith in them. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's just the nature of things. And how many opinions do you get before you just throw your hands up? Second opinions, third opinions. My daughter, we was talking about how humbling she is, but sometimes she just says jacked up things. I was walking by and she was on FaceTime with her friends, and I could hear her friend's family in the background, chattering and whatnot, and they're doing some kind of activity on FaceTime, and Julie goes over to sit next to her. She's having her lunch, and my daughter just says, "Mommy, breath stinks really bad. Can you not like?" And in my wife's defense, she was eating like a salad with vinaigrette, dressing. So, the whole thing, in my opinion, smells weird, but, she just wants to broadcast it over the whole thing. I think that gets me more is like when it's like you can state your opinions about things, but, there's no need to share it with the neighborhood. Like the other day we were sitting, she asked for something. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, she wanted some kind of dessert, like a cake or something. She wanted some type of dessert. And she was talking to Julie in one room. And I was squatted down trying to fix her toys in her playroom because we were playing. And she had left to go do that, and I was trying to fix it. And she runs back in the room, and she's all huffy and angry. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Well, I could see your butt crack, and Mom won't give me cake." Just no filter. But if you ever see her in school or anywhere else, she's just the model student. Doesn't act up in class, super quiet, everything's, And so I know it's just because she's comfortable with us in particular, it's fine. There's no blatant disrespect, but sometimes it's disarming. She thinks like I know she thinks highly of me. We went to the park together on the 4th of July. They're having this big picnic down Main Street. It's so a small town to say that, but where I live, it's a small town, and they were having a parade down Main Street, with like different floats, but I mean, mostly it was like the different like police vehicles and fire trucks or whatever, and different decorated moving trucks and stuff, where advertising like local companies and people on horses and stuff like that. The marching bands, a couple, it was cute. A very there's a small town charm to it. Everything's different, military and veterans and whatever. It's very cute. But anyway, before the parade started, we met up at the park, which was next door to the parade. Before the parade kicked off, they set up you set up your chairs and odds and ends, like whatever you need, like your whatever, those canopies and things, and then you wait, basically. So the kids, she had some friends that she was going to hang out with, and so I went to go hang out with them. And so anyway, we're at this park, and it's our neighborhood park. I go take her there. We play there at the park. And so she's used to the different jungle gyms and assorted things. And we had recently gone there, and she got on this merry-go-round, which is like, it's this it has these seats on it, and in the center it has a spinning circle where the kids can pull the circle and spin this merry-go-round really fast. Or, as we do with me and my daughter, I'll spin the merry-go-round until she says too fast, and then she'll be super happy. And that was like her favorite thing that she did on the previous visit that we did. I spun it around, and she would go make noises, and we had like like say, I think we said it was like, say, banana or pizza or something, and I'll let go and I'll start spinning it. Okay, so now we've set the stage. On the 4th of July, though, so I go over, and she's playing with her friends, and so I guess to set it up, my wife Julie had gone down there to set up the chairs and met up with their friends and all that, and I stayed behind to get dressed, and I was going to get the exercise. I wanted to walk. I wanted to take the walk from our house. It's like maybe a half a mile to the parade grounds, right, the Main Street. So the importance of that is that when I showed up, they had already been playing for some time. So I went over to where they were playing and said, "Hey, baby, I'm here, Dad, let's go." And so they were doing other jungle gym stuff. And then the first thing she wanted to do is she wants to show her friends. So we go over to the merry-go-round. There's like some older kid boys, like when I say older, like 10, 12, just kind of kicking it on the merry-go-round, like not really using it for what it's intended to use. And so they're just hanging out. And I tell her, "Well, there's some boys there. What do you want to do?" And she has like her friends. She's like, "Well," I was like, "So do y'all want to get on it?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I mean, already she's hyping him up. She's like, "My dad, and he can push so fast. Get ready for it." So first of all, I say, "Boys, let's go. We're gonna use this merry-go-round. If y'all want to stay on, that's cool. They're gonna come sit on it." And the boys actually, to my surprise, get pretty stoked. They're like, all right, cool, this is gonna be cool. They had the merry-go-round has, I think if I'm not mistaken, 5 seats, 4 to 5 seats, and then a center circle. That kind of makes sense. It's like a flower. Okay, it's a circle, and there's spaces between the 5 seats. Okay, and my daughter grabs one of the chairs, one of the seats, or whatever. It's like this flat seat. If you can picture a circle, and then just kind of like a little bit of a back and a bottom, which signifies a seat. And so her friend, 2 friends sit down, and then one of the boys sits down, and then the other boy, another boy is standing up. He wants to push. And another boy is kind of like sort of just sitting in between the 2 seats, right? And I'm kind of, so I start going slow, and this little boy wants to push it with me, all right? Let's not get too hairy. Let's just tell the story how it goes. So I start spinning it, and then the boy that's helping me push grabs onto the back of one of the seats and kicks his legs up, and he's flying sideways for a second. And I said, this is going to be a problem. Because already they're doing some Evel Knievel, like, crazy stuff, and, you know, it's going to be a bit of a problem. And the whole time, I'm not even going that fast. My daughter's like, this is nothing. He can go way faster. And to her credit, one of her friends is like, hey, I don't want it to go faster. So is there any way that I don't have to participate in this whole let's see how fast we can go thing? And so I said, look, no. I said, I have a deal with my daughter. If I'm going too fast, you just say banana, and I'll just let go, and I won't go any faster. And the girl says, perfect. So we start again. And I said, wait, before we start, okay? Because at one point, to put this in perspective, at one point, one of the kids sat crisscross applesauce on top of the center spinning wheel, if you can picture that. It was like, and there's a word for that, and I know it somewhere in my mind. Something about centrifugal force. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But bottom line, he was sitting in the middle, and he was fine. He was like, you know what, I'm going to sit here. I don't know. And I was like, are you sure? I'm going to push it pretty. And he's like, I just got to close my eyes, because he was like, if I open my eyes, it messes with my equilibrium, and I'm going to throw up or whatever. He didn't say all that, but I got it from him going, what? Got it. So here I go again. I start pushing. I said, boy, on the outside, you almost knocked me down when you kicked your legs up and whatever. Why don't you sit down and just enjoy the ride? Like, you don't have to help me push. I can do it. So he squats down and sits down with the other ones. So, and here comes another little boy, like half the size, and he doesn't want to get on or do anything. He just wants to stand there in close proximity, which already freaks me out. Like, I don't know, what are you up to? Like, why are you just kind of hanging out? You know, you're going to you have no business. Like, take a step back. But, so, anyway, boom, I start pushing it. Here I go, whoo, whoo, whoo. And I'm going faster, and I'm like, you good? To the little girl that has the can say banana whenever she wants. And she's like, I'm fine. And so I'm going, and my daughter's like, he can go faster. Go faster, Daddy, go faster, Dad. And I'm like, I'm just pretending I'm not going to go faster yet. I'm just assessing. And then 2 things happen. One, the little boy that's on the side somehow finds himself underneath the merry-go-round. And the boy that's on the thing decides, oh, I don't have to hold on or do anything like normal kids do. I'm just going to jump off while it's going and see what happens. And sure enough, he gets whacked with the the merry-go-round. He didn't make a clean break, and he bites it really bad. And he was the oldest of the boys that were there. He's probably like 12 or 11, something like that. And he is fighting off. He wants to cry so bad. And I stopped the merry-go-round because I was trying to get the kid out from underneath it. Which may have, contributed to the other kid not getting a clean jump off of the thing, now that I think about it. But I already blame myself for this, so no need for me to be convinced that it's my fault. But the boy is standing there, and I hear, like, from behind this a woman's voice say, "Shake it off." And I'm like, "What? You're all right, boy. You're all right. Shake it off." And the kid's like stifling. He wants to cry so bad. And I think he cried a little bit. He's holding on to his side. He's really hurt. He is like legit hurt. And then I looked thinking that the lady was ripping me, but she wasn't. She was making sure that her boy didn't, I don't know, show pain, which is weird. But I get it, it's a whole culture thing. And the boy's like, she kept saying, "You're fine." So, and she walked over to him, picked up his shirt. I mean, looked at the redness that was his hips and his legs, probably had permanent damage. And she was like, "You're fine." She spanked, like, not spanked him, but like dusted him off. Pop, pop, pop. Like, which I'm like, if I bit it real hard, the last thing I want to do is for somebody to like spank the dust off. And you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It just seemed like unnecessary pain, like insult to injury. But I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you like bit it so hard. Like, maybe you should like sit this next round off." And of course, the parents of the friends that are with my group are like, maybe they should just push themselves. And I'm like, dude, because I always like being, you know what I mean? Like when you were a kid and like the cool dad or the dad wanted to, but it reminds me, I used to be a volunteer at the YMCA back when the first time around that I went to college. I was a volunteer, part of a college students were encouraged to give back to their communities, and so that you would be able to sign up for these different activities. And I was, it wasn't as talked about as it was. I was a little bit socially awkward. So they would have things like roller skating, where we would chaperone the roller skating for the kids, and I didn't know how to be. But anyway, we won't get into all that. But I remember I went and I volunteered. So they had like a camp going for these kids at the YMCA. And on day one, I show up and I thought, I'm gonna do my best. I'm good with playing with kids. I mean, what can I do to help participate? And they were having some kind of crab soccer, which is basically like where you walk. How can I describe this? Like you crab walk, which is you lean back and you're walking on your hands and feet at the same time, right? Like, I mean, the worst descriptive, effort ever. Basically, like if you sat on the ground and then you picked yourself up with your hands, to where your butt's like just kind of floating off the ground, and then you're walking with your feet. Okay, can that be the crab? And then you basically have the gymnasium, and they put the ball out, and you kind of try to kick the ball. So none of the other camp volunteers were playing with the kids. So I said, why aren't y'all down? Come on, I could do it. And I got down in my crab position, and I'm like, I'm gonna play with the kids. Here we go. And they're like, game on, let's go. And then the ball comes to me, and I'm like, let's show them how it's done. And I kicked the ball kind of like too hard, and like it pops the kid in the face. And then that ended my crab soccer career. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like, I get it. I was just trying to be, playfully one of the kids, and like show them that I was there to make sure they have a good time. And I mean, it was bad too. I mean, just, and the people in charge are kind of like, well, maybe it's not the best idea for you to participate in the crab game with the kids at this time. And meanwhile, they're rushing the kid off to the side because he got popped in the face with a soccer ball. In my defense, how do you kick a ball, in a crab walk? It was just it was the perfect setup. I don't know how to kick. So you just kind of give the best kick forward that you can, Anyway, that's what that reminded me of. So, yeah, and my poor daughter just wanted to show the kids that her dad could spin it really fast. But we did okay. And later that day, so that parade was good, and they had a carnival. The small town, the 4th of July Jubilee, which it sounds really small town too, but they had like a Jubilee, which is like carnival rides and carnival games. It's like a mini carnival, and I mean I don't know how they contact, but it's just like, we need the quintessential, like, just like, I'm gonna, like, I don't even know how you contact these the carnival people. But like those people, there's only one set of carnival people, like, in the world. And they go to all the carnivals. I mean, it must be, because it's like the same exact people working the carnival games and working the rides that work every single carnival I've ever been to. I recognize them. I see them, and I'm like, oh, y'all are professional carnival employees. And my wife Julie has this thing where if there's a wristband or like a way to like spend the most money, unlimited carnival rides, and I'm telling her there's legit maybe 2 rides she'll get on, and maybe she'll get on them twice. Like, what are you doing? But if they have some type of, pay this much money, and then like we're standing in line, and this man, she says something about wanting to get something, like she's standing in line for the coupons or the tickets or whatnot. And I say, we should walk around the carnival grounds. We should see if there's any rides that she even wants to get on. No, she wants to get on these rides. I already know. Well, okay, but if we walk around the carnival and we say, okay, she wants to do the following things, and we could say, all right, we can either get X amount of coupons, or we can get the all-day deluxe wristband that she can get on as unlimited, and and not really, and get the full value. Okay. And so we were giving a little bit of a tiff about it, because she said something, and I said, dude, what are we doing here? Right? Meaning, like, you're already in line committing to doing this, and we should talk about it. Right? And the line hadn't moved. I didn't notice, and it was no big deal to me. Because I was still trying to have a conversation about it. However, the guy behind must have been related to the person that was working the ticket booth, because he's like, they just haven't had the money for the change yet. And I turned and I was like, who's talking to you? Like, what are you doing? Like, mind your business, homie. But he was an older man, so I just was like, let it go. And I turned back and I said, no, I'm saying that we should walk around and see if she wants to get a certain number of rides and whatever. Anyway, repeat what the hell I was saying. So me. But anyway, I find that it's better just to say, you know what, whatever. You want the all-day wristband? That's, let's play your way of doing it. And we walked around. And so we get to the first ride. This was the go-to ride that she bet the whole thing on, saying, I already know she wants to get on a ride because she wants to get on that one for sure. Right? This is what got the wristband conversation going. Because I said, let's walk around, and she said, no, I already know she wants to at least get on that ride right there. And she pointed at this jungle gym kind of thing. It was kind of like this obstacle course for small children. Okay, sounds good. We walk up to the first one, and they say, she's too tall for this ride. Sorry. I just put my hands up. So, hey, there you go. What do you want to say? I'm not saying I told you so. We're just at the first ride. Let's keep going. My daughter's at that age. She's an 8-year-old. And yet, those of you who have met her, seen her on this show, she's very brave. Probably the bravest, one of the bravest kids I know. But she's in a little bit of a shell shock right now, because she tried going to this water park, and there was a ride that they promised was like a simple ride, and it had like a 10-foot drop, and it freaked her out. She's very untrusting currently, and I knew that going into this, that was going to be a factor in her enjoying these different rides. She was going to be a little bit more like, I don't know. Anyway, so I was pointing at different rides, and I said, well, what about that one? It's just a swing that goes in a circle. Now, I've seen those swings in a circle. One time I was at a theme park, and I was on, and I said, I'm at this theme park. I don't get on rides. I just don't. I have proven to myself that I can do it, but I don't like the feeling. I don't get off on that exhilarating, feeling. But I did get on one at a time to prove to myself that it wasn't just me being chicken, which to me was important, but it's really not. I have nothing to prove to anybody. But anyway, I was at this theme park, and I said, I can't be here at this theme park and not do anything. So I saw this ride ending, and it just looked like this swing that was going in a circle. So it was like maybe 20 or 30 swings hanging from these long chains. But when I looked at it, it was finishing up. It just looked like these swings were going in a circle and coming to a stop, and everybody was getting off. And I said to myself, Well, that's just a swing going in a circle. Like, what's the big deal? If I get on a swing and it goes in a circle, if the chain breaks, I'll hold on to the chains and, you know, and then the ride will stop and I'll get off. You know, no harm, no foul. So I get on this swing, and even as I'm getting on, I look ahead of me and there's like a little girl getting on that ride. This was many years ago. The little girl getting on a swing next to a little boy on a swing. Admittedly, this could be perceived as a children's ride. Okay, I'll take that. As long as I'm participating and doing something, you know, great. So they lock me into my swing, and then they're like, all right, everybody ready? And then they hit go. And as they're hitting the thing to go, I realize that they have a hard plastic shell tube around the chains. So if the chain breaks, I'm flying with these two tubes around the chains, you know. So already I say to myself, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't, I got like a pit in my stomach. I said, oh dear. Meanwhile, the swings start rising. Zzz, and I realized very quickly that it's nothing of what I thought it was going to be. Not only that, it starts increasing in speed. So the swings are going kind of at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. And I'm in full panic mode. I'm a younger guy, but I'm in full panic mode. I'm looking at this little girl ahead of me, and she's doing like ee wee la la la, like swinging sideways, like she don't even care, like doing little turns back and forth. Completely terrified. Anyway, I screamed like higher pitch than the little girl could hit, and I shut my eyes and cursed until I landed, and I haven't been on a ride since. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, flashback to 4th of July, and here we are at the carnival, and I'm pointing at these different rides, and I'm saying, what about this one? It's just swings going in a circle. What about this one? And she lands on one. She decides to go on this dragon roller coaster that was very, you know, for smaller kids, and that's fine. And she goes one time on it, and she's like, I didn't like it, right? So in my mind, I'm doing this mental math of she's gotten on one ride so far, ladies and gentlemen, and she doesn't want to go on a second time. And we've walked around half of this carnival. You know, this is not looking good for those that want to buy the all-day unlimited pass, right? Luckily, she found like enough rides to make it, you know, semi worth it. And I think that she would have gotten on far fewer rides, because it was like candle melting hot out there on that day. And I don't even think we would have spent that much time there. She would have walked around and said, you know what? I'd like maybe get me on these 3 rides. And we would have been like, all right, let's get those rides and let's get the hell on. Anyway, but she had a blast, so that was fine. Meanwhile, I saw this lady walking with a small child, and they had this big stuffed animal carnival prize. And I said, ma'am, if you don't mind me asking, where did you win that? Oh, right there, at that stand right over there, where you just have to break 2 bottles. You know, it's really easy, she said. And I was like, cool. Thank you for letting me know. And then I went back, and, you know, this is early on in our walking around, and I see different people talking to her, right? And then I see people gravitating towards that stand, which was like this big aluminum wall, and then these shelves of beer bottles. And all these guys are standing in front of it now in different groups and throwing the balls at this wall of bottles. And I said, I'm just gonna stand here and watch. And I'm watching, and you hear whack. The balls are hitting the aluminum wall behind these bottles, and no bottles breaking, but they're missing them sometimes for the most part. And these guys are just shoveling over money and nothing. And there was this young man, and he was taking it very seriously. He seemed like he wound up the pitch, like he brought his knee up, turned sideways, and whack, threw just some heat on that ball. But he missed the bottles and hit the thing. But guy after guy after guy after guy, each one of them was, and I swear I saw the ball ting a bottle here and there. Not one was breaking. And I'm thinking, this girl said it was easy. I don't understand. And all these guys are doing it, and not one of them is able to crack it. I don't understand. And the carnival lady, like I said, works at every carnival ever in the whole existence of carnivals, has that look about her. That's what she does for a living, is work carnivals. I look at her, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see the lady with the kid with the big stuffed animal, just enjoying like some popcorn or something, down a ways, and sitting on a bench or whatever. And I start to pay attention to the girl's face, and I look at the carnival lady, and I look at the girl's face, and I realize they have some key markers, like of familial similarities between the two of them. And I'm like, that's it. It's a scam. She walks around with a big prize and a kid, and naturally people are like, wow, where'd you get that? And you can only win the big prize at that station. And I get furious. Like, I'm like, it's a hustle. Everything's a damn hustle. Like, you probably can't even break a bottle. It's probably like, they're probably rubber bottles, and every fifth bottle is glass, and it probably has some stuff stuffed in. Who knows? But I guarantee you, it probably would have been better if I walked up and said, I'll give you $100 if you could hop on this side and break a bottle. And I'll give you 10 throws, or as many as you need to break a bottle. And I bet you won't. But I still said I was going to do it. I believe in miracles, and I believe in oops, don't mean to get shaky, y'all. I believe in magic. So I said, well, even if it's just $5, I'm going to try. Because in my mind, I said, well, if somehow it happens, it might be fun to try. Like, by some miracle, maybe it'll happen for me. So even though I saw through the lie, and I knew that it was a scam, I still did it. And here's the thing. I've always imagined going up in front of a big crowd, like, to throw out the first pitch at some game, right? Like, because you see it done, and then you see sometimes, like, people do it with some humor. Some people do it and surprisingly well, and they talk about these things, right? And so I thought to myself, I've always thought of myself, if I would choke under pressure, if it would be like something I could do, right? I walk up, I give her $5. She says, pick the 3 balls you want to use. I'm like, ha, I'm going to get the roughest, rowdiest looking balls that are in here, and I'm going to do it. So I wind up the pitch, so to speak. I pulled, like I'm going to throw the ball. And then I don't know what possessed me. I didn't release the ball. Like, my mind said to my hand, let the ball go, and it shall go forward. And instead, my hand stuck to the ball. And I was throwing with all my might. And I didn't let the ball go until well after I should have. And the ball went on the ground to the left behind me. You may be saying to yourself, what is he trying to describe? Because it sounds like he threw it in the opposite direction of the bottles. Yes, I did. I had to turn around, and the group of guys that was there previously had to pick the ball up by the lemonade stand or whatever that was over there, and toss me the ball to try again. Nowhere near the vicinity. And then that shook me up so bad, mortified me so bad, that the next 2 balls that I threw, I just wanted them to go forward. I didn't even care anymore about breaking bottles. And needless to say, I didn't break it. But I proved to myself that it was fake, because I'll tell you why. When I turned around and the guy threw me the ball, I caught the ball, and I turned back and I said, well, and the lady was like, go ahead and throw a 4th time, because that one was so bad that we're not going to even count it. And I cocked it back, and I nailed the bottle, and it pulled it out. It came out of its holder, fell down, and did not break. And then one of the guys goes, oh, because the bottle came up and out and went down. He thought for sure it was going to break. It didn't break. But I had no credibility, because I literally threw the ball and it went behind me like a magic trick. So, yep. But I was trying to explain to my daughter, because they had a game there, and they're like, if you give me $5 and you just take a duck out of the water and throw it back, make the duck splash, you get this small prize. You give me $10, you can do the same thing and get a bigger prize. Give me $15, and you can go away with this stuffed animal. And my daughter's like, I want the stuffed animal. And I said, I bet you do. But we'll talk about it in the car. And I had to explain to her that that's not really a game. The lady was like, it's called a sure thing game. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's called a hustle. And the prizes you got right here, you probably get for like 50 cents or $2.50. Even the biggest stuffed animal that you got here, crappy thrown together stuffed animals that won't even make it on the car ride home. But, no skill or talent needed. Take a duck out of the water and throw it in the water and make it splash. I mean, I want to know, who misses out, and it'd probably be me. But it's one thing to have like bent rims for basketball, you know what I mean, where like you can barely fit the ball through. You have to hit it so perfect, and it has to be like It can't be off the backboard. It'll just, the only way to get it is to nail it in a rainbow shot. Or like when I walked up, I was doing my dumb thing. I went over to where they were at, and they had the dart game. And well, the way they do darts now is they have these sandbags, and they told my daughter, throw it and it'll pop a balloon and you win the prize. And I've seen this hustle, and it makes me so pissed off to even think about it, because when I was little, they got me on it. You throw, back in my day, it was darts. So you'd throw a dart, you'd pop a balloon, they'd give you a small prize. He'd say, now, buy another time, I'll give you another dart, you pop a balloon, you trade in your prize for a bigger prize. And then if you can keep doing it, right? So you get this real crap prize. You spent $5, you get a crap prize. You give them $5 more, and you get a slightly bigger crap prize. So before you know it, you're $20 in the hole, and you have a medium-sized crap prize. And then God forbid you miss, and it's just an extra $5. You know what I'm saying? Carnivals piss me off. Can you tell? Anyway, but I walked up, and my daughter had already turned in her tiny prize for a slightly bigger prize. And I was like, come on, what are y'all doing? But in their defense, she got to do something and earn it herself. Like, she threw the sandbag, she popped the balloon twice, and so she felt like, validated as a human being. I don't know. But they're just trying to make money like everybody else, right? It's just their way of doing it. I just it's like legitimized con artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay as long as they're suckers. You can con them in that one instant. You could argue that car salesmen and real estate agents and just many different ways people are out there legitimately conning people. It's fine, well and good. I'm just saying it's no more blatant. There's no more of a blatant example than carnival people. And one of the rides my daughter climbs in, and she climbed out, is very cute, because she says, she climbed in, she turned around and said, no, thank you, sir. I'm not gonna go and ride this ride. And she put her hand up to get helped out, and the guy helped her out of the ride, and she came over, and it was still within earshot, and she tells my mom, there were roaches inside the area I was supposed to sit. I was like, geez, man. Because it's the same carnival rides that they have at every one in every town. Anyway, I digress. Well, thank you for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. I'll check in with everybody next week, and take care of yourselves. And please message me at lostlikemike@gmail.com. Leave comments if you are listening in one of the different platforms. It's best just to message me at lostlikemike@gmail.com. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, and I'll communicate with you that way as well. All right, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.